It's 7 o'clock. Today is June 25th, 2019. I'd like to reconvene the meeting from earlier this month, Spring Hope Board meeting, Spring Hope Board of Commissioners meeting. Start first thing on our agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Somebody please stand and join me while to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I see from the first page, I'm going to turn this over to the clerk to start our meeting since she added a page.
Okay, these are the discoveries and releases. The first one are discoveries that were found by Nash County that are additional taxes that the town can collect and will collect. They're owed to the town. And then releases are taxes that were paid on time, but at the we had them on the delinquent list, but we found out that they actually paid on time after we opened their mail and saw the postmark. So we released them from their delinquency. And that's it. And so we need a motion to approve these discoveries and releases.
I'll make a motion that we approve these discoveries and releases.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the discoveries and releases. If there's no more discussion, all in favor say aye. 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 All opposed say nay. Motion passes. And with that, I will turn this over to the town manager.
I'd like to go into public hearing for the proposed budget.
All right, we will need a motion to go into public hearing.
Make a motion to the public hearing for the proposed budget.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go to public hearing. No more discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. We're in public hearing.
You have before you a copy of the final copy of the memorandum with the budget presentation for fiscal year 1920, as well as a copy of the annual budget ordinance and a copy of both the revenues and expenditure requests or estimates for fiscal year 1920. Basically, it's similar to the draft that you received earlier this month. The only changes were several line items to adjust for payroll for the police department. There was not enough in there as well for the addition of the most recent police officer. It was left off, so I had to adjust the budget in other line items in the general fund to make up for that difference. But the total number and the number for the general fund is exactly the same as earlier this month. So within the general fund expenditures and revenues, it is $1,207,850. For the enterprise fund, water and sewer, it is the same at $494,000, with a total amount for $1,701,850 for the total operating budget. This overview of the budget does include a 2% COLA for all full-time employees, as well as raises for the police department and administration listed on the budget presentation on page 2 and 3. If there are any questions, please let me know.
Anybody have any questions?
I think I got one. I don't mean to be slow. I ain't slow. But y'all need to think I'm slow either. You said for an additional police officer, right?
It was for the most recent officer we had. So basically, when I received some of the information on the budgeting report and I used the numbers, one of the officers was left off, the most recent one. So
Okay.
I had to find the money to keep it at the current budget. So I made cuts in some of the line items to make up for the difference so that we stayed on target for the amount that I originally had for the revenues to match up with the expenditures.
So he was hired before Pepperell, right?
Oh, yes,
That's what I'm
yes,
asking.
yes, yes.
That's why I was
yes.
puzzled, you know. Okay, I got you.
No.
Mm-hmm. Got another question.
Okay.
Okay, for expenditures for the downtown development board,
Yes,
I saw they had, you did decrease that.
I did decrease that in, so previously it was listed for 17,000 and it has come down to, I believe,
$9,000.
$9,000, yes,
Okay, I got a question, okay?
yes.
I just like to know. What do you all do with this money?
So this money is supposed to be used towards our Main Street programs, downtown revitalization. Right now, a large portion of those funds comes from a sales tax, portion of the sales tax.
Mhm.
And the state requires us to use it only for economic development. We haven't been using that for the last 2 years. We've been depositing that into an account after the fiscal year.
That's what I meant.
So at some point when we do start having certain projects,
Mhm.
we'll have some funds to start expending towards that. It could be potential streetscapes, it could be benches, it could be potentially even used to maybe take down some houses with those costs. It could be potentially even used for hiring a part-time code enforcement officer to assist the town. So it could be used for any of those types of things that are related to economic development. But we haven't dedicated the exact amount on, because again, with us starting the Main Street program and the Downtown Development Board, that's part of the goals is to figure out what kind of goals we'd like to achieve. And so I've dedicated certain funding towards that so that we can maybe tackle some of those projects in the upcoming year.
Got another question.
Okay.
And so when you all start these projects, will y'all bring them back to the board for approval, or you all just going to do them?
Typically, we'll bring it back for the board for blessing or updates on what we plan on doing.
Before you do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? Then I would recommend we go back in that open hearing. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to go back into open session.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go back in open session. There's no more discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. We are back in the open session. So, Tom, are there any more questions about the budget? Or a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the current budget for the current year.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the budget as written. There's no more discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes. If there's no more,
I do have one item. I know that the Board of Commissioners represents as the acting Board of Adjustment. I do have a conditional use permit request that I received, and they would like to request a meeting sometime in the month of July. Obviously, time period to request a public hearing, request at the July 1 board meeting is too short. We have to have 2 weeks of notices in the local paper. So at the earliest, it would potentially be July 15th or the 22nd or the 29th if we're looking at Mondays. And it's a request by the Spalding Resource Center for a community center. They're considering relocating from their current location to another spot.
That's a small resource.
The Resource Center, yes.
Have they selected, spot?
They have selected a location that they're in discussions with the property owner.
What they need us to do?
So at this point, a potential date on when the public hearing would be held, this board, as the Board of Adjustment, would listen to the permit request, the conditional use permit, the CUP request. Similar to you all approving a special use permit request as the final deciding factor or governing board, you would be listening to the final request for approval, denial for the CUP request.
Either of those days will be with me. Share with those
Me
gentlemen
too.
down there.
I'm good. I'll do any of those three.
Cause
Which one?
I should share with them because of their jobs or whatever, but
No, I'm good with any of those three.
all of them
I'm good.
actually.
Commissioner Tucker?
I got a problem with the 8th and 15th. 22nd, 29th is open. 15th possibly.
We'll go for the 22nd, because you know it's open.
Yeah, I know the 20th right now unless something occurs, 22nd's open.
Would you like at the same time, 7 p.m. or another time, or would 7 p.m. work for the Board of Adjustment meeting?
I can't guarantee you. 7 o'clock.
Okay.
You're coming the furthest inside.
Alright.
7's good for me.
I'll inform them that for 7 p.m. on the 22nd on Monday.
You'll get us some sample packets or something.
Yes, I
together.
will. I'll hold to work on the reports for that request.
Then if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. We are adjourned.
July the 22nd.
Yeah, July 22nd.
For the Board of
Seven.
Adjustment. 7 o'clock.